my head because I'm not playing these games. No, I'm not. Let me pin today's topic title 2020 in review. This is our last episode of Day to Day with Dorothy for the year. And then we'll be back on track at the end of January. Yes, we will. So, look, I've got my New Year's hair going, and then I've got on a sparkly skirt. You can't see Facebook. There you go. Ooh, look, sparkles. Hey, hey, hey. Here we go. Here we go. Yes, yes, yes. Let's see. How do we want to do this? Got this positioned. Let's brighten the lights. Yes, we are ready to make some magic happen. So, what I wanted to do today for the year in review is literally, I have a pile, you can't see it, but I have a pile of notes here. And I want to literally go through some of those notes and talk about some of the tips and tricks that we've shared throughout the years. It's kind of like rapid play with Day to Day with Dorothy so that we can cover a bunch of things in our final episode. And so, as like for our chitter chat, as we wait for folks to come on, today I went to the chiropractor because I've been doing my Peloton workouts for, I don't know, maybe a month and a half now. But sometimes I'm so sore that I feel like this hair is bothering me. Shoop, shoop. Sometimes I'm so sore that I feel like I don't sleep well. And I know, look, I know I need to stretch more. So that's probably part of the issue. But the rest of it is that, I think I needed some extra love. So I went to the chiropractor, and I bet you I'm going to sleep like a champ tonight. I think so. Then I got my nails done because I had picked off all the nail polish since family photos. And I was like, ooh, I can't be raggedy for the last episode of Day to Day with Dorothy. Like, who does that? So I did that. And I hope that you all had a wonderful holiday. If you celebrate Christmas, I hope that Christmas was wonderful. It's just one thing that I know for most of us, not all of us, but for most of us, this Christmas was not like a typical Christmas. For most of us, we just kicked it with our immediate family. Maybe for then another part of the most of us, we had a sibling or our parent or parents pop by briefly, and then, but again, even if you had a sibling or two siblings or your parent or both parents stop by, it probably still didn't feel like how it normally feels on that day, because often it's, popping by multiple people's houses, hanging out with multiple families in a day, or having, a nice size gathering where 8, 10, 15, 20 of your relatives are hanging out and kicking it. And so this Christmas just probably was not, or this Hanukkah or this Kwanzaa, um, this holiday season probably wasn't what it has been in years past. And I know for me, it was very, very different. Like, this was my first time since moving to Milwaukee 6 years ago. This was literally my very first time staying home for the holiday. Staying home, like in the city of Milwaukee, and not vacating the premises to go to California or Belize or something like that. So yeah, it was challenging, and this was also the first Christmas where I didn't have my daughter with me, and that was she was with her father, and that was so incredibly weird for me. I was like, huh, I'm not used to this. So yeah, this for me, and I know for many of us, this Christmas was not like any other Christmas that we've experienced. But hopefully, even in all of the differentness, hopefully you had a little bit of peace. Hopefully you had a little bit of quiet. Hopefully you got a little bit of rest, um, and had time to do a little bit of reflecting at the very least for what you were grateful for. And if we are living and breathing and well, I mean, that means we have another fighting chance. That means we have another day and another week, God willing, to like make all the magic happen. So that's just kind of, those are kind of my thoughts around, how this holiday went. And honestly, I'm excited as hell that this year is over. I like have been waiting for the end of December since March. I mean, this year has been so raggedy in so many ways. And in other ways, it's been incredible, right? Because we've learned so much about ourselves. We've learned just how resilient we can be, just how tenacious we can be, and how much we want to be able to essentially like persevere, if you will. So there's that. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump in. We're going to do 2020 in review. I literally have a stack of cards. If you're like, who are you? I'm Dorothy Enriquez. I am the principal and founder of the Communication Strategist, a boutique learning and leadership development firm where I help you lead from every seat you sit in. That's the goal. I want to make sure whether you are an organization or an individual that you are equipped with the needed tools, needed mindset, skill set, tool set, so that you can optimize your leadership and show up powerfully, right? In and outside of work. Hey, Mallory, your consultant. Schulterell, welcome to the show. So look, hey Facebook, I see y'all. I don't know who's here because Facebook changed a while back and now they never tell me who's watching. I don't like that, right? On other platforms you can see who's watching. But let's jump in to the year in review. So if you remember the episode, and you may not remember, right? That's why we're doing like this fun little game that I made up. So connect then lead, communication is key. So for that episode, we talked about what it means to communicate effectively. And that series of episodes came from a request from a corporate hustler who was like, you know what? Can we work on communication skills? So here's what's true for lady leaders. We were built to connect. Like it's in our blood. We're so good at this. So this is one of the tips I shared during that episode. When you are trying to connect with others within your organization, there are 3 things that you can do to connect, build rapport, and build relationship. Number 1, find common interests and common ground. There's something that we can connect on. Maybe we both like Game of Thrones. Maybe we both like binge watching things on Netflix. Maybe we both like to do triathlons. Maybe we both like to try new recipes. Oftentimes, people assume that it has to get super duper personal, and it doesn't always have to be all in depth and all in your business and all personal like that, right? So make that effort to try to find that common interest and common ground so that you can connect, especially when it comes to connecting with people who don't look like you, or connecting with people who don't think like you, and connecting with people who don't do what it is that you do, right? And so that creates that cross-departmental pollination. Also, directing your energy towards connecting. Sometimes we have like a stank face when it comes to this idea of creating and building meaningful relationships at work. We're just like, oh, I didn't come here to make friends. But here's the thing. We need those relationships in order to advance in and outside of that company, right? And so when we start to exude this positive energy towards this idea of connecting, especially knowing that it's in our blood, that's a game changer, right? That's a game changer. So working on the energy, right? Getting your crystals together and working on your energy, meditating about it day and night if that's what it's going to take. And then thinking about how can you communicate simply, right? Those were some of the 3 tips that was shared in that episode. Connect then lead, communication is key. And when we think about this idea of simple communication, sometimes, I don't know what it is, but sometimes we just be doing too much, right? And so how can we communicate in simple terms so as not to lose the person that we're trying to build relationship and rapport with, right? Because we ain't gotta do all that, right? It's not necessary. Okay, so Another episode that we did, so this set of notes for some reason doesn't have a title, but the thing on the list that stands out to me is this. Superstars get a pass. So when we make mistakes at work, when we fail, when we fall flat on our faces, when we, you know, just lose a client, things go awry, we lose money, whatever the case may be, what we know for sure and what the research shows, superstars get a pass. So, as much as possible, as often as you can at work, work as if your life depends on it, right? Sometimes we go to work and because our boss is a psychopath or a Looney Tune, we sometimes take on this attitude like, I'm going to make his life a living hell, or I'm going to make her wish that she was never born, or whatever. Like, we do this thing, and honestly, truly, the only person that it hurts in the end is us, right? And so when we go to work as if, if you believe in God, when you go to work and you are acting as if you are doing that work for Jesus himself, that changes how you show up. When you go to work and you realize that this work is not really for your boss, like, yes, our job is to make our boss look good. But when you go to work with a heightened sense that it's not just for him or her, that it is truly for the edification and development of your career, you move differently, right? Because when you're like, oh, I'm simply doing this for my boss, I'm simply showing up and being diligent for my manager, honestly, sometimes that's not compelling enough, especially if your boss is a corn pone. It's like, I ain't doing it for you. Essentially, I'm doing it for me. Hi, millennial life coaches. Ooh, shoulder roll. Welcome to the show. Hi, authentically nay. Yes. So we're doing a roundup. I literally have a stack right here. You can't see. I'm pointing right over there on my little table of not every note from that I've done to prepare for all the shows that we did this year, but I have a stack of them that I just pulled out of the file cabinet like, "Oh, let's just pull these out." And then I'm talking about one highlight on each one so that, we can have some ideas of some of the things that we covered this year because we did a bazillion episodes of Day to Day with Dorothy. All right, so here is another set of notes. Let's see. So, what do we have here? We've got confidence boost. So, some notes here. Confidence doesn't compensate for a lack of skill or hard work, but it does help amplify those qualities to take you further than you'd get without it. And what we know is that confident employees have an average of 22% more sales than their less confident counterparts. So, one tip on here is, where are your greatest hits? Here's what's true. When things go awry, our confidence gets shaken. It just does. And this idea that you could be confident all the time, every day, all day, 24/7 is not practical. What we know from all the research and just from being alive is that confidence does this, right? And so we have to have processes in place to help us gain, maintain, and regain confidence as we go through our leadership journey, right? And so the thing that we need to do is just be aware and have these processes in place so that when things start to get in our way and shake our confidence and mess with us, we've got things in place to help us bounce back, essentially. So you want to make sure that you've got a greatest hits list handy, or some sort of brag book, or something that you can look at, pull out a file, or click on so that you can see you are not a colossal screw up. You are not a colossal failure. Yes, you made a mistake. Yes, that didn't go well. Yes, the client walked away. Yes, your boss cursed you out, or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, you be killing it. You be killing it. And when we screw up, we forget how long we've been killing it. And so that's why I think the greatest hits list is important. So you may remember that we had a whole week of confidence. So here are some tips from day one of the confidence week that we had, probably over summer. or maybe just a little bit before summer when we were in super quarantine. So I listed some tips to help us or to explore why our confidence starts to take a dump, basically, right? So sometimes our confidence starts to take a little bit of a dump because of criticism. We've all been there, right? Sometimes our confidence starts to tank because we don't know what's going to happen. The fear of the unknown causes our confidence to just do like this spiral nosedive. Sometimes our personal appearance, right, which will impact our self-esteem if we're not happy with it, right? Maybe we gained the COVID-19 like I did. Or, maybe something has happened. Maybe you just had a baby and like all your edges left like mine did. Or all of these things can happen with our personal appearance, and we're just like, or maybe, you're in your 30s, but then you have a breakout and now you feel like you're 15 again, and you're like, what is my skin doing? All of these things can cause our confidence to take a little bit of a dump, right? If we feel like we've had too many back to back failures, if we feel like we're not really sure or clear of what we're doing, how to do it, and how to do it with brilliance, all of these things can impact our confidence. But the thing is, we want to be aware, we want to try to be planful, right? Do our research, do our homework, always be learning, and always be reading. So you may remember another set of notes. Procrastination and self-confidence. This was when we had Opulent Mind Shift on the show. Ooh, that episode was so good. If you haven't seen it, it is on the YouTube channel, so you could go there and scope it out, or you could find it on Facebook on the Communication Strategist page. But all the best episodes live on TCS TV on YouTube. And so the link is in Facebook in the About section, and it's in the bio on Instagram. But procrastination and self confidence. In this episode, I said that procrastination has two play cousins that always come over, and they are guilt and anxiety. And what we know, so we talked about some of the reasons why our confidence could be low from another episode, but procrastination impacts our mood and our self confidence. So the thing is, one of the highlights from this set of notes is the idea of not being mentally lazy. And when I was going through the African American Leadership Program here in Milwaukee, one of the things that the coach, the executive coach, shared with me, Sandy Brown, she was like, do not be mentally lazy. Do not do that. You like to do that, Dorothy. Don't do that. And I'm like, no, I want to think. No, you don't. You don't want to think. Right? And so when we're being mentally lazy, what we're doing is we're giving ourselves a pass and we're putting ourselves on autopilot. No, no, no. And then we're resting in our prefrontal cortex, because what our prefrontal cortex wants to do is give us the easy way out so that it's like less painful or no pain at all, but it doesn't get us where we need to be. So we cannot be mentally lazy and then do this thing that I used to do all the time. This is hard. And so essentially you're giving your brain the out. This is too hard for me. This is too challenging. Whatever the thing is that we tell ourselves, but we cannot be mentally lazy. As leaders, we can't afford to live in that space. And so we got to say, you know what? This is hard and I can do hard things. Or this is challenging. I welcome the challenge. We have to then take that mentally lazy thing that we do and finish it out, right? And finish out the sentence so that we're empowered and equipped to not fall and sit back on our laurels and just be a lazy little lima bean mentally. So another episode was the tipping point. And so this episode, I think, happened probably the week after or the week George Floyd was murdered brutally on camera, right? And so, yep, this was the day after Blackout Tuesday. So I talked about how I had taken a break and did not want to go live, because if you've been following me for a while, you may remember at the height of quarantine, I went live every single day during the work week. Come rain, come shine, whether I felt like it, didn't feel like it, whether I had something to wear or not, I was live. But in the tipping point episode, something that I focused on was around vulnerability, right? And some of us, many of us, have a hard time being vulnerable. Brene Brown does a lot of study around vulnerability and shame and how we just we don't want to do it, right? We do this thing where like I'll be vulnerable when you're vulnerable. And I think a lot of times we think of, like culturally in the US, like vulnerability is weakness. And it's not, right? Because it's like, oh, you're weak. Now you're asking for help or you're admitting something. But it's not weakness. What I believe is that vulnerability will take the organization and the team further, right? What vulnerability says, which is so critical if we're going to be successful, vulnerability says that we know we're not perfect. And we know that we don't know everything, but we can still get the work done. That's what vulnerability says. And what being vulnerable does as leaders for the folks that we influence, whether they are our direct reports or not, vulnerability says you can now remove the static. Being vulnerable gets the static out of the way because it's like as we're trying to like not look like we don't know, as we're trying to like do this corporate jujitsu thing where we are stoic and made of steel. Being vulnerable gets the static out the way so that we can do the damn work. That's what we came to do. So I really enjoyed putting that episode together. Then we had Authenticity Week. So for those of you just now joining, we're literally doing 2020 in review. I've got a stack of Day to Day with Dorothy episodes here, and I'm just literally pulling out a couple notes from each of those episodes for us to review, and then I'll jump out of here as we wrap up our final episode of 2020. So we had a week dedicated to learning about authenticity and leadership and how those things work together. So a couple quick notes on here. Diversity leadership is not just about accommodating differences, it's about challenging norms, right? And what we know, especially after this year, leaders need strong backbones if they're going to champion what their diverse teams need. It's one thing to build a diverse team, it is another thing to manage and maintain a diverse team and manage and maintain a diverse team with mindful inclusion. Y'all, it is a whole situation. And how can you be authentic in this space as you do the thing that is challenging, right? Homogenous teams are easier to manage, period. They just are. Diverse teams will present more of a challenge for leaders. But what I know for sure is that today's leaders need to be up for the challenge and need to do whatever is necessary in order to do well in this space if they want to be successful, if they want to positively impact the bottom line, and if they want to be innovative. Period, full stop. The innovation will not go as far in a homogenous team as it would in a diverse team, right? So what the research shows when it comes to authentic leadership is that it's the most single, strongest predictor of an employee's job satisfaction, organizational commitment, and workplace happiness. There it is. And then your best self. This was also during Authenticity Week, and this is when we had Dr. Katina Fuller Scott come on. That was also a really fun episode too. So some of, like, two of the things that she wanted to highlight are that leaders must be continuously mindful of what they project in the world, because inspiration may draw people, but authenticity is what's going to keep them there. And I couldn't agree more, right? The other big idea that she highlighted was that we have to understand that living and leading authentically may bear a heavy cost, but we must be courageous, even in the face of adversity. And if we've ever, like, collectively as a nation had a year full of adversity, it was this year, y'all. It was this year. That was your best self episode. So the last, oh my gosh, there's at least like, I don't even even know how many of these. I was just looking through this pile of notes. So the last one is corporate hustling. So one of the biggest things, so I'll share two. On this list, we've got Sunday work, which you hear me talk about almost every Sunday. Sunday work is a game changer, especially if you are not super duper detail oriented and or super organized. If you just are like, yeah, I'm doing my best, but I am often late, or I sometimes forget things, or I have my to do list, but sometimes I don't check everything off. Sunday work is a phenomenal way to tie up those loose ends at the end of each week, slash, depending on how you look at your week, right? Some people look at Sunday as the end, some people look at Sunday as the beginning. Regardless, Sunday work is the way to tie up and put a bow on what happened in the 6 days or 5 days prior, right? And so once I incorporated Sunday work into my every week as a routine, as a corporate hustler and even as an entrepreneur, y'all, listen. I have caught so many things on Sunday, like, what the hell? Did I forget to click send? How come I didn't respond to this? How did I? And if I didn't have that weekly roundup, when I had a corporate job and when I didn't, a mess. Do you hear me? And then the last one from the corporate hustling episode is the F with list. You gotta have an F with list. I'm editing, right? For the kids. So your F with list is the people that you know you need to F with on a monthly basis at work, whether you want to F with them or not. Because these individuals are key stakeholders and relationships that are critical to your success, whether you like them or not. And so it's imperative that you have this list where you're very thoughtful about who are the key stakeholders, who are important people that need to know my name or need to know what I'm doing it and how I'm doing it, because it serves their bottom line. So really quick example, and then I'll hop out of here, is let's say that you are working on a cross-functional project and there's 5 departments involved. The 5, includes your own department. These 4 people probably attend the meetings. They probably get the email updates, and they are most likely seeing the results of what's ever happening with this project. However, these 4 people, especially depending on how high they are in the organization or how much influence they have, you should be having one-on-one meetings with all 4 of them. And they're not necessarily going to tell you, you should be having a one-on-one meeting with me. No. What they're going to do is go back and paddle to your boss and be like, Dorothy's just really unavailable. Dorothy's just disconnected from this project. Dorothy doesn't seem engaged. And you're like, we have monthly meetings or we have a quarterly meeting, and you attend and ask questions and I answer. I send out monthly emails. I send the numbers. I send the pie charts and the da-da-da. Y'all, relationships. That is the cheat code to getting ahead. So yes, these 5 departments have come together. 4 of these departments have department heads, and they are influential and high-level individuals within the organization. Yes, you have the meetings. Yes, you send the emails. Yes, you send the calendar invites. Yes, you do this, that, and the third. Have a one-on-one with all of them, unless they specifically tell you no. Most likely they will not. And you build the relationship and rapport. And if you've had a falling out with any one of them in the last 6 months to a year, engage in relationship repair through those one-on-one meetings so that you can then build an ally. Yes? Are we ready for 2021? Listen, we are at the end. We're at the tip. We just got to make it just one more day. And then 2021 will be here, and we will be in the new year. I'm excited. I'm ready. And listen, in the new year, you got to take notes, y'all. You got to take notes in your lead from every seat you sit in notebook. So plush. Yes. Listen, All you got to do is click the link in the About section or in the bio and get your TCS notebook, 150 pages of magic. I am here for this. And if you are a corporate hustler and you were already signed up for the newsletter for however long, weeks and weeks up to this point, you have a discount code that's still good. I'll probably email y'all again tonight, right? Just in case if you're like, I don't know where it is, I lost it. I'll email y'all again tonight. And the discount code is good until January 4th. And when we all go back to work, right? And because I love you, feel free to send it to a gal pal, right? Send it to a gal pal and be like, girl, I know you were eyeballing this notebook and you were like, I need a coupon. Here it is. Done and done. So look, Day to Day with Dorothy is going to go on a break while we strategize with the team. And we're going to come back fresh and ready to make the magic happen in 2021. And here's the big secret. I told y'all, like the last couple weeks, I'm like, we're going to be doing something. It's going to be great. So we are getting ready to do a full rebrand. I'm so excited. So we're changing the name, changing some colors, similar focus, but more niched down and an even tighter focus than we've had this year and last year. And y'all, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. This Jesus gave me this name because I had been praying about it. I had been working with my subconscious on it. And I was like, girl, what we gonna call this new company? And here's how I've been describing it with the team, right? Because we did our strategic planning sessions and all of that. And I said, it's basically like TCS is a potted plant. And now we're going to take TCS and put it in a much bigger planter so that TCS can grow, scale, and expand. So that is why we are rebranding. And I am so, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm so excited. So I waited until the end, and that's my news, and that's what I have for you. And I cannot wait to see you at the end of January to restart our episodes of Day to Day with Dorothy. Please share this video with a fellow gal pal, another lady leader, and tell her that she needs to get her notebook. And for all of you who have ordered your notebook and have not tagged me or did like an unboxing, please tag me. And of course, give it 5 stars on the TCS store so that everyone can know what they're missing out on. Yeah? Yeah? Okay. Happy New Year, y'all. I will see you in 2021, God willing. Do not, I repeat, do not forget to purchase your notebook. And the winner from last week's giveaway is Shine TT, aka Tracy. So I will be mailing your notebook to you, Tracy, because you are always so on it. Thank you for supporting the communication strategist. I adore you. I adore you. So thank you all for tuning in. Ooh, hi, Dr. Lacey. Shoulder roll, shoulder roll. And I will see y'all at the end of January. And we will be rebranded. Hopefully. Or at least almost done. All right, y'all. Until next time. See you soon. Remember, the absolute, the non-negotiable, you are required to lead from every seat you sit in. Happy New Year. I'll see y'all next year in 2021. Bye. All right, Facebook. The last shoulder roll of 2020. Woo! Let's do this, y'all. I will see you next year. Happy New Year.